Live.
Oh, that was fast. So, welcome back to the DigiNinja Sales Academy. What is the DigiNinja Sales Academy? First of all, my name is Billy Merritt, and I wrote a book called The Art of Text Message Selling. Now, this is not a pitch for the book. This is a show where I'm going to give you some very simple tips about selling that work, and it has nothing to do with text message. Normally, and quite often, I talk about the power of text message selling, the importance of text message selling, and why you need to be doing it. That's another show. That's on a lot of different shows. Here's a dealer calling me right now. Normally I would take that, but I really need to take it. I'll call him back after the show. Speaking of, I've had 3 calls this morning from dealers re-signing for one of my events. And that's going to tie into this show very simply. I'm a salesperson. I'm a sales expert. I pitch dealers all the time on my products. And I've gotten really good at it. We've dealt with over 1,000, actually over 2,000 dealers across the country have actually used our company to provide an event for them. So I learned a lot along the way. There's a lot of advice out there about sales and about how to pitch, how to craft a pitch, how to craft an offer. Chapter 1 of my book says make a big offer, make an irresistible offer. But here's the problem that we run into. So first and foremost, I want to tell you this. Regardless of how long you've been selling, be willing to learn. Okay, I've been selling since, I was selling as a teenager. I started selling cars in 1996, and I was pretty good at it. I learned some things, and I learned a lot of different strategies. And there's a lot of strategies out there that work, but there's also a lot of good information out there that's not being used. And being willing and open-minded to take on the new information is vital to your ability to be a 1%er. I'm a 1%er in sales, okay? You can be too. Everybody can't be, but the people who listen to me, the people who are willing to take on that new information, they will be able to become a 1%er. If not 1%, how about a 10%er? It's best to be at the top for sure. Here's how you do that. Be willing to learn, regardless of how much you think you know. Be willing to learn. Number 2, this is the big one for today, okay? You have to be confident in your product. You have to be confident in your solution, okay? You have to be confident. Now, where does confidence come from? You can't just say be confident and you're automatically going to be more confident. So, confidence comes from being sure. Now, if you have a good product, then you need to get very familiar with that product. You need to buy that product, okay, so you understand it, and that the fact that you're willing to pay for your product will mean that you believe in the product. If you don't have a great product, then you need to find a different product to sell. Now, this doesn't matter if you're selling cars, books, furniture, services. It doesn't matter, okay? If you're not confident in your product, then you're not going to be able to sell it as effectively. Because I am a firm believer that you should not sell something that you yourself do not or would not purchase. If you don't buy it, you shouldn't sell it. I really believe that. So, if you're driving a Ford and selling Chevys, you're not a sales professional. You're a snake oil salesperson. So anyway, so you have to have a good product so that you can be confident in your product. There's a purpose for this. There's a reason, a very good reason why you must be confident. Because if you don't, you're going to sound too pitchy. Now, don't get this confused. I am a pitch man. And you need to be a pitch man. You need to have a sales pitch. You need to have an elevator pitch. But your elevator pitch needs to be so subtle that it doesn't even sound like a pitch. It needs to sound like a solution, okay? So I'll give you an example. let me say this first. The reason you don't want to sound too pitchy or be too much like a salesperson is because your ideal customer, until they actually buy from you, they're going to be very skeptical of you and your pitch. Do you really have a solution, or are you just trying to get their money? That every person is going to be skeptical, and they should be. Okay? They should absolutely be skeptical. I love a skeptical person. I love a skeptical person who will listen, and if my pitch is confident enough, not pitchy, not like a salesperson, right? You don't want to be the person with the biggest megaphone saying, I got the best product, I got the best prices. Sometimes you have to do that to get the attention. But when you're actually talking to the decision maker, you need to speak confidently and not be too pitchy. I had someone call me the other day. They said, Billy, I heard about you from another vendor who does direct mail or something, and he recommended you, and, I'm not into this Facebook stuff, but, I'm willing to listen to you if, he said that I could benefit. This person who referred Billy Merritt to this dealer said that this dealer would benefit from my services. So I just told him, I said, look, man, we have a great product. We have the most successful product in the entire car business. Now, if you're not bought into it and you don't want to use Facebook, you're not into social media, and you're not willing to embrace it, it's not going to work. That didn't sound like a pitch at all. That sounded like I was, saying, hey, man, we're not going to do business together. But I continue. If you will be open-minded and get all your people on board, then we can really fill up your showroom with people who will buy your product. And we had a conversation. This is a part that I've changed my approach on, and it's been very effective. There is some successful training out there that tells you to over-promise and over-deliver. And I understand that philosophy, right? Like if you can, hey, man, you're going to sell 100 cars, and then I get everybody bought into, we absolutely just crush it, and we sell 102 cars, then if the expectation was 100 and we're able to over deliver, and 100 is way more than 100 is hard in the first place, and then we get 102. I understand the massive action. I understand the massive effort. I understand the principle behind that, and it is effective. However, for long-term growth and for repeat business over and over and over that is sustainable, because you can't give 110% anyway, right? Giving 100% of the time is not, you really can't do that. Smith, could you run a mile?
Could I run a mile straight?
Yeah.
Probably not, no.
Okay. All right. So how far could you run?
Probably somewhere between a quarter and a third.
All right. So if I said you had to run a half a mile, or your life depended on it, could you make it happen?
Yeah,
okay.
I think so.
All right, so that's the whole philosophy behind 100%, right? Doing maximum effort. You said you could only do a third of a mile, but if your life depended on it, you do half a mile. But you can't do that. You can't increase that to 1 mile the next day, and 2 miles, and eventually we get to 5 miles. And regardless if your life depended on it or not, you're going to fall over dead before you actually get there, right? So it's not sustainable. Max effort, 18 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days out of the year is not sustainable. So if you want, growth is sustainable. So if you want to grow, you want to sustain, you want to constantly increase your sales and your business, then you're going to have to be confident and learn how to, this is going to sound like sacrilege coming from me, under promise and over deliver. Okay? Now that's an old cliche that a lot of us have gotten away from very successfully, and there's a time to overpromise and overdeliver. But if you want to sustain your growth and retain your business, then you need to be confident and underpromise. If it's an inbound lead, they want to do business with you anyway. You don't have to sound like an evangelist and that has the solution to all the world's problems, right? They want to do business with you. So this dealer asked me, so what does success look like to you? You know, he's still being very skeptical. What does success look like to you? I said, well, you know, I have some dealers that if we sell 12 or 15 cars, they're very happy and they consider it a success. We have other dealers, if they don't sell 80 cars during the period, then they're upset because they always sell a lot more cars than that. He said, you think you can sell 15 cars? I said, sure. I mean, we do it all the time. How much inventory do you have? I went through the things, and 15 is a very low number. We sell way more than that during our events, right? I mean, we have as much as 120, 140 appointments for one of our events. If you can't sell over 15 there, something's wrong. But I led with 15 cars. He said, we've done events with this other company. He mentioned the name. I said, sure, I know them. They do a great job. He said, that's weird. Why would you say that? I said, they do a great job. They do a great job. But anyway, he said, well, if you can sell 15 cars, we'll use you. I said, okay, let's do it. So now just to let you know what the math looks like, of course 15 cars will be a success because one of our events costs around $8,000 for the week. And you can argue, dealers will argue about how much profit per deal they make. Some people say 2,000, some people say 4,000, 5,000, but if they, you know, every dealer would be happy with 15 cars sold at $3,000 per copy. That's $45,000 on an $8,000 investment. That's, you know, who wouldn't want to do that, right? This dealer called me. This was one of the dealers that called me this morning. He said, Billy, we crushed it. They sold 28 cars for over $80,000. And he said, I want to re-sign. He said, I can't do it in March because we don't have enough inventory. You know, they didn't have 50 used cars and they sold 28 of them during the event. He said, but I'm going to get my inventory right and I'm going to do an event every single month. Just every month. Go ahead and send me all the invoices and send me all the work orders I'm in. So by under promising and then over delivering, we had this guy as a loyal customer and I did not have to sound pitchy. So you want to have a pitch, a very effective, sharp pitch, but don't sound too pitchy. When you're talking to a skeptic, you have to be confident. You can't sound like a salesperson. So I've got to go be a salesperson here because I got dealers calling me. So I'm going to cut this show short. If you'll do these two things, if you'll, number one, be willing to learn, number two, be confident in your delivery, be confident in your product, and number three, not be too pitchy, you'll have a lot better success. You'll have a lot better success selling whatever it is you're selling, and you'll have the growth potential, or actually you'll fulfill the growth. You will have growth in your sales, and you can scale, and you can do great things. I'm going to talk to a dealer. I bet you I get this re-sign as well. See you, Smith.